We're going to talk about Neptune on this show. Yes, it'd be kind of fun. Neptune is a hard to learn about actor on the stage. Neptune rules Pisces. Has a lot to do with the things in the air you can't always see, but you can smell them, huh? Hey, what did this astrologer mean by pave your path? Now look, with a very small investment, you can get an astrologer to do your chart. Once you know your rising sign, then you can look and see where Jupiter's moving, which house it's going through, which part of your life is opening up. It's always wise to check out Saturn, too. Wherever Saturn is moving in your chart, things are delayed. And when you expect this area to be delayed, you're not upset. Things don't go altogether well. When you know which area of your life is expanding, oh boy, that makes it much more fun. So paving your path can be as simple as knowing where Jupiter and Saturn are moving in your chart. Seems like a lot of trouble to find out about your chart. Well, look, I'm motivated to get some students going here. And so if you want to email me at rollinfrost@yahoo.com and give me your birth date, your birth time to the minute from your birth certificate and the city you were born in, I will do the chart for you on my computer, make a copy, and send it to you in the mail. And you'll have a crisp, nice, accurate copy of your own chart. Let's see, you could also just go to my website, skymarastrology.com/TV. My address, I think, is there. Send me $1, $2, or a self-addressed stamped envelope and your birth data, and I will print out your chart for you and send it to you. I want you to have your chart, an accurate chart. And so I will do it without any profit to myself to get it to you so that you can then see through some of this stuff that's happening in the world and pave your path. Okay, this is program 1122. That's how many weeks I've served you without pay. Trying to do some higher work for Father here. We're going to cover the first week in June, first 10 days in June 2018 in the Sky Mirror. And we're going to be concentrating on Neptune a little bit because I see my notes here. Here's Mercury squaring Neptune. So you're going to be talking a lot about Neptune stuff. Oh, there's a lot of things about Neptune. I'll get to that after the Sky Mirror. But let's take a look at the Sky Mirror first. Business first. I'll find out the details, of what your coming 10 days is like. So I set up a chart. Here's Aries rising. Here's Neptune. I made him a little bigger so you can see we're going to talk about him a lot. I always like to think of him like a cup filled with liquids. It's trining Jupiter. Neptune trining Jupiter. There's wisdom around. We're going to find out more about this stuff. Yeah. The Sun is in Gemini and going from 11 to 21 degrees. It is setting up a square to Neptune. Yeah, about 5 days from you, the Sun is going to square Neptune. See the red line, 90-degree square? You're going to be very involved with Neptune stuff. So this ought to be a very informative show. So all the planets are here, right there in the place they are in the sky. And we're going to run the moon around the edge of this pattern. The moon goes all the way around in a month. And as it does, it makes angles, squares, and trines. Holding on, letting go. That's the name of the game. Make squares and trines to the other planets, and that gives you the mood of the times. Yes. So if you're in the Thursday show, watching the Thursday show, moon's in Capricorn. Went by Saturn in the morning. You had a tough morning Thursday morning, didn't you? Things were slow and a little scary and kind of old. And just the way it was. You know, if you follow the sky mirror, when you see the moon here going by Saturn, which is like Thursday morning, you feel it, and you'll see it in the people around you. And if Saturn's good in your chart, well, you'll get organized. If it's not so good, you'll feel some fear. You won't have enough, not enough time, not enough money, limitations. So when the moon goes by there Thursday morning, just check out your inner world, and you'll learn more about Saturn. On Friday, the moon's still in Capricorn. It's June 1st. And now we got a Pluto experience coming your way. Friday morning, moon goes by Pluto. There's a nice sextile to Neptune here, which means there's some inspiration going on that is pretty nice. Let's see, it's a mixed bag. Look at that, there's Jupiter. Okay, now I see it. Here's a mark for Pluto. So when you start Friday morning, the first thing here is sextile to Neptune and to Jupiter. You hit Jupiter first. Aha! Some wisdom flows. Lawyer professor's mind is loose. And that inspiration and information flows right over to Neptune. Now this all happens early in the morning. Yeah. Venus tries to interfere. If Friday morning, you can't be spiritual because of all that sex, that's what it is. It's Venus saying, pay attention to me. But Venus is trining Jupiter and Neptune, and take her to church. So there's a lot of enlightenment here early in the morning if you don't get too into your greedy gluttony with Venus. Pretty nice. And then it leads to discovery, where you hit Pluto, and that's like in the afternoon between lunch and dinner. Yeah, and that's when the moon goes by Pluto. You'll be thinking of Pele and Pluto, and discovery happens. A nice active Friday. Saturday, the moon starts with the moon still in Capricorn right up to here till about noontime. And in the middle of the day, the moon here squares Uranus. And there's glitches, and there's electrical problems, and a feeling of being alone that kind of continues into active anger on Saturday night. This is about 8, 9 o'clock or so, maybe earlier. The moon hits Mars. Now, Mars will make you active. It's like pumping up the testosterone. And you can get pretty randy here Saturday night. Uranus is a lack of brotherhood, the square to Uranus, and electrical things going awry. And so if you're impatient, don't depend on electrical devices Saturday. And the main thing is to use Mars positively. Fix something. Do something physical and constructive to be a hero and protect something Saturday night. You'll be fine. Yeah. Moon in Aquarius. Yeah, it's very nice. When it goes by Mars. A lot of brotherhood in the sign of Aquarius. On Sunday, the moon's still in Aquarius. Makes a nice trine to the sun around dinner time. I got a plan, and you can talk about it. There's a trine to Mercury. Jupiter's in square about dinner time, and you kind of think there's, the wise men aren't with you, or you're overdoing it. Don't bite off more than you can swallow. Might need a Heimlich maneuver here on Sunday night. Monday, the moon's still in Aquarius and just carries through with some of that overdoing feeling till you get to Monday night late. And here is a sextile to Uranus. Brotherhood comes in. So, Sunday could be quite nice with getting your plans going if you don't make them too big. Monday, not bad. Independent, and you get more independent and technical. This is actually 1 or 2 in the morning, Tuesday morning. So the moon slips into Pisces, and that's where it sextiles Uranus, which has gone into Taurus and is a lot more steady, but also slower. Tuesday afternoon, here's the moon sextiling Saturn, and you're getting organized. And then, look at this, here's this spectacular Neptune. Neptune I call the priest, artist, doctor, musician. And the moon's in Pisces. You're going to feel that right away Tuesday, even though it's technical in the morning and businesslike in the afternoon on Tuesday. Wednesday is all about Neptune. And it's not easy because the sun's squaring it, Mercury's squaring it. Not easy at all. Now, it just so happens, I've got some arcane notes here. Check it out. There's a lunation here. This lunation is a third quarter moon, and it's at 16 Pisces. It's right on Neptune. So this day here, Wednesday the 6th, because of that lunation on Neptune, and because Neptune's stopping on the 18th, this is the starting gate. And for the next month, from the 6th of June through till July 4th, there's going to be a lot of Neptune going on, and it's going to peak out when Neptune stops, really, on the 18th. So there's going to be some liquids around, a lot more of that in a minute. So going through Wednesday, the morning could be fraught with problems of confusion and delusion if Neptune's bad in your chart. Or you could be inspired and play some music, you know. Have your morning grog for breakfast. Listen to some music. Well, don't recommend it, because here's Venus Wednesday night. You get a trine to Venus. Here's some sweets and some goodies and some relaxation. And even more, here's a sextile to Pluto Wednesday night. It could get seriously sexy. Moon's still in Pisces all the way through till Thursday, the middle of the day. And the Neptune influence is strong. Inspiration, at the same time delusionary. But a little change in the middle of the day, Thursday, the 7th. Now you're going to be stuck with that lunation on Neptune for a month, so it ain't going to go away. But some of the emphasis will leave when the moon goes into Aries. And not bad. Here's Chiron's here, the wounded healer, and he wants to help. And he's not technical. He doesn't have any technical backup. There's a 30-degree angle to Uranus. He lacks brotherhood. And it could be tough on people like homeless folks and wounded healers on Thursday. Friday, the moon's still in Aries. Nothing seriously going on there. A nice sextile to the sun Friday night, the 8th of June. Get some plans going. Renew your projects. On Saturday, the moon's still in Aries. It squares Pluto in the morning, a little panicky and some problems. But the sun was there Friday night, and Mercury's there in the middle of your morning Saturday, so you're talking it and you're doing it. And yeah. Pluto, well, you know, can't control everything. And here's a square to Venus, too. So, is that Venus? Anyway, Saturday night, late, here's that Uranus stuff. And Uranus had just gone into Taurus. It's at 1 degree of Taurus. And, you know, here's the glitch. Here's the electrical thing. Now, this can be enlightening. It might just be shaky. More earthquakes here on the Big Island. But the emphasis is on Neptune. More on that in a bit. So, a feeling of being alone, Saturday night, it's normal. Don't count on the batteries to save you. Sunday morning, things are a little better, but there's a square to Mars. And people are in a hurry and they're rushing and going too fast. Don't depend on electrical or batteries. Sunday evening, here's the opposition to Jupiter. Too much clowning around. People are expanding too far. But here's Neptune again. Here's a nice sextile to Neptune. This is this is about 10 o'clock, Sunday night, the 10th. The moon sextiles Neptune. And you tracked down that smell and found out what it was and took care of it, didn't you? Good for you. That's what it's about. Most Neptune things you can smell, you know. And that's the thing about it, is your nose only smells things for like 2-3 minutes. And then your brain cycles that smell out to go look for a new smell. So you can smell a toxin. At the refinery, they called me the nose because I'd walk through the refinery and I could smell a toxin. Now, you can only smell it for 2-3 minutes. Unless you got to go out and refresh your nose into good air and go back, you can smell the bad smell again. So the sense of smell is a fleeting thing, but you can trust it. Thing is, when you smell something, is that propane I smell? What is that? Is that solvent? Is that gasoline? Oh boy! You know, things get, yeah. Check it out right away. Because you may not smell that propane. In a few minutes, your nose will cycle it out. Track it down while your sense of smell is your helper. Okay, I got to wondering about the volcano and a lot of the action that's going on here. I told you about Neptune and the flooding thing and how it looked on the astrocartography. And I took it to be ocean problems and wasn't thinking flooding. Not spending enough time on these. I went back to look to see what I say. I remember volcanoes, but here on show 1115, I talked about mid-April shaking and panicky for a whole month from the middle of April to the middle of May. That's where I am right now, and it's panicky out in Puna. There's big rocks shooting 100 feet into the sky. Everybody's worried about sulfur dioxide and gas, and so we had a whole month of shaking and panicky. I didn't use the word volcanoes, doggone it. But another thing I said, this April 13th show was a month of shaking, but also fires that you can't control. It turns out to be lava. Anyway, one of the things I'm learning here is that, you know, this big event in the volcano doesn't look like necessarily Pluto and Pele being a problem. It's more like Neptune is a problem. Oh, how can that be? Okay, step one in the investigation. You always start with your old ephemeris. You can get a lot of information out of this $20 book. And here I'm looking at June. And what do I notice? Neptune here. See? Here's Neptune, trucking along, and right there, see that little R? That means it stopped and it went backwards and the numbers get smaller. So here's a Neptune station, see? And this will extend about 20 days on either side, essentially the month of June. So the first investigation had to do with the station. The second one had to do with the lunations to find June 6th, which is right here, which is the 3/4 moon, which is right on Neptune, and it's going to give us a month of lunacy about Neptune stuff. Now, let's do a little background. Some basic definitions. Neptune, the glyph, is a crescent of flesh over the cross of matter. Neptune stuff. Yeah, it's Neptune. It's that symbol. There's your 3/4 moon. And the stationary retrograde. What is Neptune? It's Pisces. Okay? Pisces is a word for fish. Yes, in old Latin or something. What's Neptune like? It dissolves things. It's like a liquid. Water slowly dissolves things. Makes things cloudy and misty and smoky. That's important. So you can't see stuff. Yeah? In a lot of cases, there's things you can smell, but you can't see them. That's most of the stuff you smell. Tracking down a good smell, you need a good dog. So Neptune has to do with the ocean and chemicals and oils, yeah, and drugs and booze and dyes and fish. Here's a good oil story for you. Ben Franklin, he does a lot of neat research. he found out that a little small amount, a tablespoon of oil on a pond, and you could calm down a whole acre of water with a tablespoon of water. So he started experimenting. He did a lot of parties. He'd go to some rich guy's house at a pond, and everybody'd be out there in the garden, and he'd bring out his little kit, and he'd put a little bit of oil, tiny amount, and it just calms the water. Fishermen do that. They put oil on the ocean, and it cuts all the little chop out of it all. So he figured it out, how big a pond was and how much oil he needed to use, and he used to wow them at parties by coating the whole pond and make it go flat and become like a mirror. That's what oil does when you put it on. You've seen the oil on the road with all the beautiful colors, a tiny amount. Turns out the oil will spread on the water. It's only 1 molecule thick. Ben never went fine in his calculation. He could have calculated the size of an atom by noting the amount of oil and the surface area of water he covered. But he was kind of doing a little magic thing there, Okay, I'm here on Mother's Day, and there's people over in Puna having big troubles with Neptune. Yeah, it's Neptune. It's not Pluto, Pele the volcano. You can see the lava, and everybody knows about that. What's going on is SO2, sulfur dioxide, they're measuring. And H2S, rotten egg smell, another acid sulfur gases, they're called. And you know what? They're heavier than air. So when they come out of a volcanic vent, they cruise along. I saw one guy yesterday said he came out to his house and plants on one side of the house had all turned brown. And he said, okay, I'm getting out of here. He realized that a heavier than air toxic gas was killing his plants. I discovered an H2S leak at a refinery that way. A little tree, a little plumeria tree, just started shrinking and shrinking, and it turned out a little bit of H2S was impacting it. Now, H2S is a rotten egg smell. You can smell it at very, very small concentrations. If you get a little more, it blows the nerves in your nose, and you won't smell it at all. And it's very common in refineries. We had video cameras down the aisleways of the refinery, because if something happens and you get a little cloud of H2S drifting across the refinery, an employee walks into it, takes the first breath, takes a second one, bang, it knocks you down. And the result was cracked elbows and cracked knees, and that's the H2S accidents. And it's heavier than air, folks. We had a deal where a bunch of guys acidized a well up near Calgary with sulfuric acid, and it boiled up when it hit the scale, a bunch of H2S. And these guys, the injection well was here, and they had a little dish around it to trap stuff that they had. And these guys knew what it was, but it came out of that wellhead, filled up that dish, and both of these guys ran for it, and they didn't get to their truck. H2S knocked them down and killed them. You could get trapped in a low space, bad. SO2, sulfur dioxide, is a lot different in its smell, less sharp, but it tastes terrible. And it gets in your lungs, you can't get it out. So, and it's toxic. And it's not always visible, sometimes in higher concentration, a little yellow. But it's heavier than air. Now these two are toxic gases released out of these vents, and they're in the areas where the vents are, SO2 and H2S. The people that really know about these are OCA, Oil Chemical Atomic Workers Union, refinery people, OSHA, and the industrial hygienists. Now, here's the thing. It's being confused with VOG. Yeah, the people in the news, they don't know the difference between these heavier-than-air gases. One guy this morning was really good. He told you can't protect against SO2 with a respirator. And it's true, you can't. Don't try it. You smell it, get the hell out of there, get to higher ground. VOG is different. VOG is a particulate. It's little plates of ammonium sulfate. All the noxious gases off the top of the volcano react with air and water, and they make ammonium sulfate. And little platelets. Ammonium sulfate is fertilizer. And it's flying along in the air, because they're little plates, they reflect the light. And it looks like smoke. And people here call it VOG. And the health department made a great lie to keep money going that VOG was toxic. Nobody's proved that. All the studies say VOG actually could help stuff like asthma. So if you see VOG, it's like smoke in the air floating along. It's flying fertilizer. It dissolves in your body really quick. It's not toxic. It might even be healthy. Looks like smoke. It's not harmful. There's a lot of shabai about this, folks. A lot of bullshit. Because the great lie the health department put out, they can't backpedal on now. So a lot of people here around volcanoes don't distinguish. VOG, oh my God. And there's guys putting maps up of VOG, and you think that's going to have SO2 and H2S in it? No. These two heavier than air poisons and toxins stay down on the ground and run along the bottom and pocket in low places. So you wouldn't want to hide from SO2 in your empty swimming pool. That's how those oil guys got it in Calgary. Big difference, two kinds of Neptune. VOG is Neptune because it's a phony toxin. It won't hurt you none. If it dissolves in your eyes or your throat a little bit, you get a little light sulfuric acid. You get a small light soreness from acid burn. That's the most VOG can do, and it's temporary. These two guys are different. You get in the wrong place with them, the SO2 and the H2S, they'll do you in. Yeah. Okay, I did a little astrocartography on the three-quarter moon. If you're in Pahoa, here's Pluto. It's 4 degrees off the descendant. There's Pleiade. There's volcanic action after June 6th, okay? There it is. It's a little bit off, 4 degrees off. I went, look where it was more tight. Turned out to be Kaloa. What kind of Pluto problems are they going to have over there? I don't know. I looked at the world map to see where Neptune was going to mess with us, okay? And some interesting stuff. There's about 3 big hits. Here's one, runs up through Mexico City into the Gulf. Neptune. This could be oil spills, smoke from a volcano, Popo or something. Here's another one. This one runs through one of these islands here above New Zealand. And this could be pollution from the water or something. I don't know exactly. There's another point here, runs up through North Africa, the middle of Spain into Glasgow.